Okay, it's 2:08. This won't be really long. I'm like an execution girl, so it'll be really long. I like to just give you the things to do, and then you have to do it. I can see her forever. Anybody can see her forever and tell you all the things, but it doesn't matter unless you really want to do it. And so we're going to get into having effective buyer conversations, and this came about because people were asking like, "Oh, kind of like a lot of your buyers actually buy. Like they don't give you the runaround. They're not like waiting 12 months to buy. Like how you get them to the point where they're calling you in January and they're closing in March." And so I'm like, well, I get right to the point. I have resources. Like when I talk to them at their consultation, we get really into it. And it's not really long, so I figured, hey, if I can kind of replicate it and keep doing it, teach other people, we can have our buyers meet their goals sooner than they think, because a lot of buyers don't understand that it only takes you really 60 to 90 days in most cases to make the purchase. They think it takes a year. I have to wait all the way till 2025, and that's not typically the case. So I had this idea to do like a game board because it really is a process. I'm a talker, I'm social, I'm outgoing. You don't have to be. I don't use scripts. But for me, it's more so about the point. Like, what is the purpose of this question that I'm asking? What is the purpose of this questionnaire, for example, if you're using that? And so we see here, I have like it laid out just to give you an overall view of what we're going to talk about. This is your time to connect and shine. I have been able to close 12 transactions in 12 months, and then 14 to 12 months. I am very grateful for that, and that's why I just want to show you how to do it, because it can't be rocket science. I'm a teacher. I'm not a scientist. I'm not like anybody who like came up with this crazy idea. It's just again. So we're going to start with connection. I find that even before people call me for a consultation, they already know that they want to use me. And I'm like, how do you want to, you don't know me, you just saw my social media, you just saw my Instagram page. Sometimes people message me like, something about your page told me to trust you. I'm like, so it really comes before we even get on the phone, which I'm so grateful for that, but that's why I say post consistently. If somebody finds out you're a realtor and they go to your page and you haven't posted since May 2019, well, I mean, you don't really build the trust. But even when you feel like you're not getting a lot of engagement, continue to post consistently. Someone's seeing it, you make a DM even if you don't get likes. So don't worry about only 9,000 likes. You might get a DM. And that one transaction is what you need, right? And then we could do all the things Jerry told us about maximizing that one transaction. So we're going to start with connection. Here's a little bit about me. I am actually still an educator, but I taught in school district for 7 years, and I licensed in 2021. I'm a dual career mommy, so I do both. And look at the actual 14 transactions in a year, and I teach at the same time. So again, now rocket science. I joined KW Empower last July. I only had one transaction at the time, so really 2023 to 2024 is my first year in production. Over 3 million in production. I'm the rising star. I was able to close 76 days and graduated pro coaching the fastest to date. And again, I hope all this is reiterating. Just do the things that we learned here. When I first started, my pipeline was about 50 people. Now I have about 700 plus in my come in. And so it's doable, it's possible, all the things. So we're going to start with connection. When they first call me, we get on the phone. I've done talk all day. I have a 6-year-old who's like running me ragged. And it's 5:15, and I get a Google alert that I have a consultation at 5:45. I'm like, okay, let me muster up the last good energy I have today. And so I'm meeting with enthusiasm. I'm like, hi, this is Teonna, the Rosa, how are you? And wherever it is, Mia. And he's like, oh, hi, Teonna, I didn't recognize your number, but I'm so happy you ended up calling me. And you just hear their like, they kind of get like a boost of energy, like, wow, the realtor actually called me. Now, what I find is that a lot of realtors, they'll have consultation links, but they don't make the calls, they don't reach out. So already I got a boost in the fact that I called, and I actually sound like I'm happy, despite the fact that I have about this much energy left. Genuine concern, we want to be invested in them. Mention anything from the notes. I use Calendly for people to be able to book my consultation, and with that, they are able to add any information, background information they want to know. Sometimes they think, hey, I'm a teacher. Are there any teacher grants available? Yep.
What was that thing you said that you used?
Calendly, so CAL.
C-A-L.
END. END like calendar, and then LY. And it's free. It's just very free for the book, like a free consultation if you don't have, free or not. And they're able to answer some questions, leave some notes so that once you get on the phone, you have them there. So I'm looking for ways to connect with them immediately when we get on the phone. You can ask them who referred them to you or how they do your social media profile. A lot of people like, I just saw your post on the Explore page. I clicked it and I loved the page and I looked the call. Right, but those first few seconds on the phone is how you build that trust, build that connection with them, and they already feel like this is my realtor. Like I know I'm gonna use her. She hasn't given me any information yet, but just her vibe, her energy, it just feels good. People like that. People care about that. Especially my target audience who is like in like their 30s, buying a house is more of like a social thing these days versus like, back how we used to be. They want to feel like a connection. So after we make the connection, now we need to set expectations. A lot of times they're getting off of work too, their kids are ready to eat dinner, like the whole thing. They don't want to be on the phone for an hour and asking all these overwhelming questions. A lot of the time they don't even have answers. What we're doing is we're setting expectations, giving them value, and we're giving them to do. This is what you need to do in order to move this process along by the time you get off the phone. Okay, this is not, I'm drilling you for 30 minutes. Let them know how long your call will be. Some people do 30-minute calls, some people do 15, 10, it's up to you how you want to do things. Share the general goal of this call. My general goal of my calls is to give them action steps to do to move their process forward. When we get on the phone, the goal is not going to buy help with me like that. 9 times out of 10, they don't have a qualifying credit score. They don't have enough money saved yet. And they get on the phone with me, they're almost looking for more information and to see if they are ready. So my job on that call is to say, how do I get them to the next step? Okay? I might be probably disappointed because they're like, well, I know a lot of people who don't have the right credit score, they need to work on their credit, and it could feel discouraging. Stop making that your end goal. Your goal should be, how can I move them forward? Because even if their credit isn't where it needs to be for another 6 months, I hope to sell the house in 6 months too. Like it doesn't stop just at the next. So this is something that I said this call on the phone, maybe 5 or 10 minutes. I want to do some background information to see how I can best help you in what our next step should be. So we build a connection, they love you, they set expectations. I'm like, okay, I can do 10 minutes and I'm about to get off the car and go to the grocery store, but I can do 10 minutes. Now we get baseline. This is where you start to ask questions. You want to get as much information here without making them feel overwhelmed or intimidated. Okay, a lot of times first time home buyers, they're like, I don't know. I just know that I need to have some information. Again, the goal is not to just hear them say they are ready today. The goal is for them to commit to a plan to purchase. And then I don't use an exact questionnaire, but there are KW questionnaires. I just kind of do this so often that I know the questions I ask. So some questions that I ask, let me see if I think I linked it here. So you can see what questions. Let's see if we're open up. Okay, so here's some questions that I asked on my consultation. You don't have to ask all 10. Sometimes, depending on someone's answer to one question, you might skip the next one. Just use, you go to 10. Where are you located? If you use social media to get your leads like I do, someone will come and call me from Georgia, Idaho, California, despite the fact that it says PA license, okay? Despite the fact that my location says Philadelphia, they will still ask me, hey, do you have any branches in Kentucky? I don't know. But again, that's a good point for you to be able to maybe make a connection or do a referral business with someone else if you're going close in the area. But where are you located? Where are you looking to buy? That's another question that can get your referral. I am licensed in PA, not Delaware, not Jersey, but if I know other agents who are, I can make that referral to them. Have you done anything so far in the home buying process? What is your current credit score? How much do you currently have saved to go towards your purchase? What is your year of income? Do you have your neighborhoods in mind? Are you looking for a single family or multi-unit? The typical buying process takes anywhere between 60 and 90 days. Would you like to purchase your home? And are you currently in a lease? All of these questions are important not only for me, but for them, right? I need to know if you're in a lease because the their lease is another to January. I know we aren't doing until, at least November to get it started. Are they looking for a single family or multi-unit? That starts to guide my brain. Okay, which lenders should we maybe go towards? Are there any grants for multi-units for single families? So again, it's helping me, but it's simple enough question for them to just narrow it down. Screenshot that, take a picture, and write it down. Oh, go ahead. And it doesn't take that long. I know 10 questions seems like it takes long, but you flow through.
Do you ask these questions over the phone or in your consultation? Of course, it's done here.
Good question. So when they do economy, I do have questions there. I ask them if they're a first-time home buyer or if they are looking to sell. So there's like 3 questions there, but they aren't as like precise as this. This is only for once they get on the phone and I know they're a home buyer.
Gotcha.
All right, so now we have the baseline, right? We know how to help them. Again, we're back to building trust. This is when you go over the general requirements and qualifications for the type of purchase they are looking to make. Because now we have information, so then we can give them a little bit more specific information on what they will need. If they are looking to buy in Delaware County, I can give them more specific information on maybe the credit score or savings amount that they may want to have in order to purchase. Versus Philly, if they're a first-time home buyer, they may be able to come out of pocket much less, and so that will be a different number. So sometimes I tell my clients, hey, if we're able to get you qualified for this grant, you may only come out of pocket $2,500. Versus if they're purchasing in Delaware County, the savings goal for them will be larger because they're going to have higher closing costs. I don't give them all this information, but it helps me process what information I should be giving them. Okay, so build trust. They told you what they're looking for. Now your job to build trust and say, okay, let's go over some general requirements. Typically, you need a 640 credit score to qualify for grants. Okay, so you're not giving them all the information that you know, but you're giving them big size pieces to say, okay, now they have a goal. If my credit score is a 620, if Teonna tells me I need at least a 640, in their head, that's something tangible, right? First time home buyer, okay, I know what I need from her. If I'm purchasing in Delaware, I'm going to return, I'm going to need more money to see. Provide minimum requirements for grants. Again, you do not have to be a grant professional. That's not your job. That's like the grant counselor and the lender's job. But it's good to know some of that information to give it to your clients. And you want to empower them, reassure them, and making a good decision. I don't care if they said their credit score is a 520, and you're like, oh, Lord have mercy, we're not going to buy it. It's 2026. Right? Just say, you know what, you made the first step. That's the most important step. I know it can be really scary, to make that first step that you have, and I have resources and we're gonna, move forward with your purchase. And it may seem like nothing and like it doesn't matter, but it really does because again, a lot of them say the realtor doesn't call them. They tell me that, oh, they didn't have like a good personality, say mean, or you just being the nice one sometimes will get you above everyone else.
Yeah. I just want to throw this up because you mentioned that, and a lot of people, y'all might not believe it.
Yeah.
But there was actually a study done a couple years ago, and less than 50% of realtors actually follow up with it. So
that's the thing.
What she's saying is real. Like someone's schedule, DM you, whatever, like call them because 90%, most of the other people that they reach out to are not.
Exactly, and then like the statistic that says like most people will work with the first realtor that they meet. And it's like, okay, well, you scheduled me calls, but I'm the only one who called you back. You're probably going to work with me. Dream out loud. When I became a realtor, I realized that it was very, very far from the HGTV dreams that I had. I thought it was going to be pretty houses and pretty clothes and pretty everything. And so a lot of times it's the same way for our first time home buyers. They realize like, okay, I don't just like look at houses today when I call you, right? It's like that. I have to get this credit score. I have to save this money. It's all these things that they maybe have to do. And so being that person they can talk to on the phone and say like, oh, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, finished basement, cute yard. Like I want marble countertops. Just let them say whatever they want to say. It doesn't matter what their credit score is at that moment. They can have like $50 in their savings account. Just let them build that connection with you and just tell you what they're looking for. Right, later down the line, once we get them pre-approved and help the lender, we can make it a little bit more realistic. But again, build that connection with them. They love talking about their dream home, what they want in their home. Let them run down the list. It's not going to hurt you at all. And again, you're now a person who knows their dreams and goals. So it takes you a little bit more into who they are, and building that connection with them. You're not just like this realtor. You're now almost like a friend, someone they can rely on. And I find that it makes a difference with my clients. Goals, this is the most important thing. So this is why we let them dream out loud, let them say all their big lavish goals, because then we can connect it to tangible things. All right, they need to increase their credit score. You want that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, finished basement, and Chestnut Hill? Well, then we need to increase our credit score. We need to increase our savings, decrease debt, increase our income, right? Obtain a budget for their purchase. So these are the goals. So after they tell you their long list of things they want in their house, then we say, okay, in order to get that, these are the next steps that we're going to do. All right. Now, out of all the calls that I get from Instagram, now I do get some that are very like I'm shocked. And this guy called me and said, I had a 700 credit score, I had $25,000 saved, like I'm ready to buy. Beautiful. Thank you, Instagram, right? But a lot of times that's not the case. And so I would be doing them a disservice to get them on the phone and not have any resources for them, knowing that they're going to need most likely one of the people on this list. Okay? Ideally, again, everyone will come to us ready to buy. That's just not always the case. Reaffirm them. So after I told them, okay, these are the things we need to do. Home ownership is possible. All we need to do is increase X, Y, Z, decrease X, Y, Z. I may tell them I have a client right now for Delaware County. They're ready to purchase a home for $275,000. All we needed to do was work with a credit specialist and get their credit score up 20 points. If they hear that like someone else is in the same position as them, but they are in a position to buy, or they're closing their home now, again, it's just another knock on that belt. Like, you know what? This is possible for me. I don't want to give up. Reaffirm them. Identify barriers. Here's another part. And again, this whole process is something that I had to learn and tweak over time over the past year that I've been in production. And so what this is, now I feel like it works like that. So do all the things. Identify barriers. Get clear on any challenges or barriers that they may have come up during their process. Because if we get off the phone with them and we don't ask them, okay, is there anything that you feel like might be an issue during your home buying process? Sometimes I've had nurses who are like, okay, they're going to send me to a new hospital and my pay rate is going to change within the next like 30 to 60 days. That helps both them and I know, okay, well, we need to make sure we let the lender know that just in case like their lending options change. But they may not have seen it as something to tell you in the beginning. So you explicitly should ask them, are there any challenges or barriers that may come up? That way you can address them. That way their closing process is probably going to take a little less longer because I already know that. Versus us working together for 30 days, now they push the hospital, and now we're kind of pushing them back a bit. And so the goal, again, with this process is to how to have the most effective conversation so we can get them from consultation to closing as quickly as possible. Okay? Some things they may bring up, a grant availability, and they're like, oh, I'm not looking to buy for another 6 months. Mention to them, okay, well, grants sometimes do have limited availability, it may run out, and why they may say things about their employment, current lease timeline, very important. If they are renting, you have to know that they are renting because you need to know when their lease is up so you can adjust your timeline accordingly. Funds and banking credit services. If they need to build their credit but they don't have the money right now, have that conversation now. Okay, the goal for the next 30 days is to make sure that by the first of next month, we can make that investment. But again, we have to ask them these challenges and barriers up front. And not that we haven't already provided value, but I know real estate, we say this all the time, add value, give them something, give them something. They just provided potential problems, right? This whole thing, potential problems. Now we provide solutions. In November, I partnered with, well, not really partnered, but I met a credit specialist who's really, really good. So that's the service that I recommend to my clients in a follow-up email. When I'm telling them, okay, the next 30, 60-day goal is for you to make a consultation for credit services. Here's the person I recommend. Of course, you can use whatever you like. Savings match program, another thing that I learned over the course of this last year, there's a way for buyers to connect with free programs that will match them. So there's a program that says if they save $2,000 for their purchase, the program will match with $4,000. That gives the buyer $6,000 for their closing loan. right? And again, I don't have to give them this information. What if I give them this information and they use another filter? It just is what it is. But 9 times out of 10, because I've given them so much and I've invested in what they need and solve their problems, they're going to use me. And it helps because now we've convinced their run much shorter. If they needed to save $6,000 by themselves, it be a little longer. Versus if they have 2,000, they sign up with the vet program, they have 6,000. Now we're, down a little bit shorter. That's why my clients are able to buy a little faster than usual. And then options for lenders. Okay. If they know they want to buy in Delaware County, I have some lenders that I feel like really well with Delaware County loan options. Philly, there's some lenders that do really well with that. So having those things already prepared for your follow-up email is going to help your clients take immediate action, which is I think is on that slide. So whatever problem they give you, again, you don't need to tell them everything, but even if on your notepad, I use Command. So when they schedule the consultation, it connects to Command. Their information is already in Command. I don't have to type it up. So when they're on the phone with me, I go to the notes section and their profile with me, and that's where I'm typing all these things. Okay, so if you're asking me, well, Teonna, how do you keep track of like all the answers to their questions? I used to write it in my Google Drive, and then I will never be able to find like their information, who said what. And so I got a little more organized over the past 12 months, and Command was a really good way for me to keep track of them just systematically. And then immediate action, send that follow-up email that same day. If you told them, reach out to the credit specialist, but you're not following up with them for another 30 days or 2 weeks, well, now we wasted 2 weeks and 30 days to get them started on the process to, improve their credit or start the savings match program, or maybe they aren't ready. Connect them to a lender immediately. Give them recommendations for a lender. Of course, let them know they can use whichever lender they would like, but here are some suggestions of lenders I've worked with who have worked with clients similar to you. Okay, immediately, when you get off the phone. And what I do in Gmail is I save it as a template. I save my follow-up email as a template. And of course, I tweak it or put their name or whatever other details need to be changed, but it is another way for me to stay consistent and be efficient. Okay? Tell them exactly what they're going to do when you get off the phone. Reiterate the goal or goals for the next 30 to 60 days, 3 to 6 months, depending on, if they're in these, their timeline. Send the follow-up email, and then in that follow-up email, you can use Google Calendar and set a 30-day check-in, 7-day check-in, how many ever days. I typically do 30 days, unless it's like somebody who's looking to buy it like sooner. But if it's someone who's like, okay, they need 6 months to build their credit, well, now we have a 30-day check-in calendar invite in that email. That way, you don't even have to like think, okay, let me call Mia in 30 days. It's already on your Google Calendar to check in with her 30 days. That allows them to ask you any questions. That allows you to ask how's your credit going. If they have it, when there's their reminder, there's that other touch that we need to make sure they're staying on track. And so we've gone through the whole process. We connect with them, set expectations, get a baseline. A baseline is the questionnaire, okay? This is your consultation question. Build trust, and empower them. And maybe that's just something natural to me. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Good job for giving me a call. But I do find that it helps just to have like somebody who is rooting for you. Dream out loud, goals, reaffirm them, identify barriers, add value, immediate action. As you can see, none of this is about me, I'm supposed to. None of this is like, what I need from you. This is all about them. So some people ask me, you run the risk of getting all this information and adding all this value, and then you use another filter. That's just the game, right? I don't take it any kind of way. And very seldom happens. I would say any time I've had 2 clients and I learned with this, I did follow up with them, right? I had a client who purchased a duplex. I did follow up with her at the time. Actually, both of them purchased a duplex. And there were 2 clients that I didn't have a follow-up system with. But that taught me to now have one. It's like you just like take it under the chin, but 9 times out of 10, my clients work with me, were able to purchase the best thing they want to be. And just to reiterate, the goal of that call, of today's call, is to get them a plan. They need to know what's their plan for the next 30 days, so the next 60 days. Because buyers should not be running until they have like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, unless they have a lease that they need to wait for. But outside of that, if they just increase their credit, increase their savings, or get pre-approved, it's our job to get into their process and like an efficient timeline. They should not just be like out here waiting. It doesn't make sense. So that's the goal of the call, and then follow up is how to get to the main goal of purchasing a home. Okay, so the goal for the phone call is just to get them a plan. After that, we have follow up, and that's how they get to purchase. And I always say, and I said in the beginning, I do the work. I like to get it done execute, right? You can read all the books, you can read, listen to all the podcasts. What are you going to do? All of these clients here, except for 3 are clients I met on Instagram. We closed last year together. Some things that I did was I posted every day in November. That's kind of how I built up my social media presence. So I'm going to encourage you to post every day in August. If you're looking for more leads, set up your Calendly, that's free. Create email templates for your follow-up emails, and then create your resource list. Resource lists are going to include your lender, any credit specialist, any credit repair. I actually just met a client, but she works with budget, so she helps people with budget. I'm going to add her to my follow-up email because sometimes I have high income earners who just don't spend their money wisely. So it will help me to, add her to the follow-up email. And then the other follow-up is the savings match program. Of course, depending on what clients you're looking for, that you work with, you may not need a credit specialist. If you're finding somebody like Chestnut Bill who's already, making great money, have a great credit score, but a lot of times my clients are not, and so I find that these are resources that help my clients. So find whatever resources your clients as well. But when I tell you, I didn't know into a can of paint, I never had January, she went to Instagram, she told me January, March. What? They're like besties. You would think you knew each other forever, right? That's my favorite thing about these phone calls. You can really build such beautiful connections and referrals. She referred her brother to me already, she referred her dad to me already, and I just in January. So hopefully this is some encouragement. Buyers are not just here to bring around, but we as the realtor technically do our job and make sure we're giving them what they need to purchase and items.
Real quick before you go, you mentioned coaching. Post every day tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
What should people be posting about this?
Okay. Again, think about your client that you're looking for. What kind of information do they need? Do they need to know about grants? I was thinking to my lender last week, he was saying, Teonna, people used to come to me and just think, I want to get pre-approved. She's like, now the first thing out of everyone's mouth is, are there any grants out of my life? And so I definitely encourage posting about grants. You do not have to be an expert on every single grant, but if you have some, general qualifications that you know about, what's the credit score requirement and how much funds are available, post that. People will ask you questions. Trust and believe. You can post about, if you're looking for sellers, post information sellers will want to know. Post your closings, post when you're doing showings. If you're like, saying, I don't have any clients here right now, how do I even post anything? Just post what you're doing. If you're going to, what do they call it? Right, goes on the rooftop. Looks at the pretty houses and everything like that.
Oh,
the brokers open, stuff like that. People like to see you out and about, post about that. When you're doing showings, take videos of the showings and post that. So really just anything that you're actually doing, because anything outside of that is just going to be a task. But if I'm actually doing showings, that's easier for me to post about. If I'm actually talking about grants, let me post about those grants. So that's a good question, excuse me. Post anything that you feel like your buyer needs. Set up your Calendly, email templates. If you need help with the email templates, let me know. And your resource list. If you need a credit specialist, I can refer mine. He's also a realtor over in Jersey, so he's a great connection to have because sometimes people come to me for to purchase the Jersey. And then I'll add, and I'm going to talk about this, what was the bigger reason why that family, and I think I came to a presentation coalition before they talk about your life mission. I say mine is a lot of the world by using my life, giving gifts, talents, and abilities, and empowering my community to discover experience. So for me, it's just about how can I use how I already am, what I already know, to light other people up, to help them, achieve their goals, and then empower them to do theirs. That's what I like to teach, because I can empower other realtors, use the gifts and talents that you already have. Here's my Instagram, if you wanna follow me, if you wanna go on there and like screenshot some ideas about what to post underscore Teonna Renee, feel free. And then if you have any questions, let me know. But mostly I just want you to go do the things that are already there. So, I know. Mhm. Thank you. I'm trying to go do the thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest problem.
That is,
People just don't do it.
You change your Instagram name or what you had from the get rid of it.
I didn't, I created, so I had my personal, which is underscore Teonna Renee, and then I created Teonna the Realtor. But for me, it just felt more natural to post on my regular page. So I do have it, and like I'll collaborate with it. Like I'll tag myself, my Realtor page, in my post on my regular page. But yeah, for me, it just is more natural to just post on my regular page. And like your cousins and your friends, everything are following you, and they don't care about you. You want to attract the people who are looking to buy anyway. So I don't care that in the beginning people didn't engage because they were the people who weren't looking to buy. But after a while, Instagram will start to kind of push you out to people who are looking up those things. So in the first 30 days, you may not get the engagement that you want, but after a while, you're consistently posting, you'll start to get the people looking to buy. So don't get discouraged, but that's how I build out my social media and a lot of leads there.
I don't know, it works. I know.
Yeah, for sure.
My son, he's on it. 2 million.
Yeah. And then the key is to have a follow-up now. Because even if people are liking and commenting, but if you don't have a link for them to schedule consultations, like, I mean, it's just a waste of time. So make sure you have something for them to go. Exactly. Exactly.
Follow that.
Yes, definitely follow up. Follow.
Instagram, each kind of.
What is it, the template? No, in Gmail. And like your regular email, you can make a template and like save it. So that every time you write an email, like I'll let them go to this, I'll email pops right up. You just tweak it.
I know she posts a lot to her story as well.
That's true. Yeah, and then my stories tell me what I find is that people like regular people. Like they like when I post about like I work out. Like, you know, my ideal client is working out, she's about wellness and health and achieving her goals. And so when I post about those things, even if they're not directly like real estate related, they care about it. If you like to, you know, go to cigar lounge, maybe your ideal client likes to go to cigar lounge. So like don't feel bad about posting about those things. I'm not going to post about like, you know, crazy stuff, but
Yeah, I think they say like 20, 80%.
Yeah.
20%. That's yeah. Which I gotta get back to that because mine is mostly experience, like my business, and yet it's not.